So we're waiting for the counteroffensive, right? As the fighting is dragging on in Bakhmut, we're waiting to see where the Ukrainian hammer is going to drop. And, there's a lot of speculation and concern about it. I'm going to go ahead and speculate here, right? We understand from NATO, they just said that, look, they have trained and equipped 9 brigades of Ukrainian forces. So that's a lot of armor, right? That's a lot of heavy forces that have been trained up. And where that's going to be employed on the battlefield will be interesting. And keep in mind, those forces have not been in the battle. We have had this stalemate, right, all up and down the line. The Russians have been trying to move forward and, frankly, haven't gotten anywhere. And so the Ukrainian forces that are engaged are able to hold the Russians in place. And now they have 9 brigades that they can unleash. Where are they going to drop? Well, that's a good question. And for my money, I think they're very likely to try to go for Melitopol, right? And Melitopol is obvious. And for that reason, I could be wrong, right? They could try for something non-obvious, which would be smart. However, if you're fighting this war, Melitopol's right here, right? And so here, this is Donetsk. This is the area that was not part, was already in rebellion, right? This is the area that Russia took. And so all of this area in Zaporizhia is kind of flat, relatively easy to take because the Russians were able to take it. Also, this is the land bridge. Presumably, this is one of the big reasons Putin's fighting the war. If they go for Melitopol, all the roads go through there. There's also, you see this bay here. This is actually kind of the narrow part of the land bridge, right? So coming down through Bakhmut to Melitopol is very obvious. It moves, it would free up a lot of conquered area. It would break the land bridge. It would then put the Ukrainians in a good position to move on down towards Crimea and start threatening Crimea. So to my mind, this is the smart move. Now, is this what they're going to do? Don't know. ISW, whose map I'm using here, is very adamant that they are not making predictions. They do not, their editorial stance is that they don't want to violate Ukrainian operational security. They're on their side. They make no bones about it. And they do not like anyone to in any way imply that their maps and the things that, they produce for us to analyze support that conclusion. So this is just me. And I'm just looking at a map. This is a map that happens to be theirs. But on any map, you're going to see all these roads, right? Melitopol is just so obviously a clear case. What are the other options? Of course, the Ukrainians could drive for Mariupol, right? And try to cut off higher on the land bridge, right? They could also, I think this unlikely, they could try to keep going into Luhansk. I think it unlikely because the Russians have a lot of forces there and you're by Russia, right? Also, if you go and you start threatening Crimea, right? If you can break the land bridge, move up, start threatening Crimea, and work on that Kerch Strait bridge, you can do operational interdiction and you can start wearing down the Russians in Crimea. And either that could lead to you eventually taking Crimea, or it puts you in a very strong bargaining position. And even though the Ukrainians are saying they're not going to negotiate and they're going to get, they're going for total victory, hey, that's a great bargaining stance. And being at the gates of Crimea and having Crimea isolated is a really great position to end up in. So this counteroffensive could have very important strategic implications if they're able to get to Melitopol.